Welcome back, CYO family. My name's Doug Sloat, instructor at Colorado Youth Outdoors. Again, it's Tutorial Tuesday, and on this segment we're going to talk about pond ecology. So when you're looking at pond ecology, I would highly recommend that you wear polarized sunglasses. Polarized sunglasses will actually help you cut through the water and see into the water, and that gives you a good idea of what's underneath. So the first thing that I like to look at is when I come to the pond, I kind of give an overview of what I'm seeing. So we're going to start from left to right, and as if we were going to fish this section of the pond. So I'm going to look right down in front of me to your left. You're going to see a lot of reeds, a little bit of scrubs, and a little bit of weeds. And this is going to be called structure, ambush spots for your fish that you're going to be catching. Mainly out here it's going to be largemouth bass. As we pan up, we're going to look over at that tree, and you can see that tree covers a little bit over the water, has some shade. More importantly, anything that's on those limbs could fall in and be a potential meal, and that's where I'd like to throw my bait along with some seaweed. And remember, all your fish that are going to be prey are going to be hiding in those covered areas, and if they happen to come out, they can get snatched up by a predator fish. Let's pan over to the right some more. You can see we got a little bit of a rock bank over here. Again, that is considered structure. Some of those rocks actually go into the water, creating hiding spots for bait fish and potentially for predator fish to eat the bait fish. As we pan over some more, then you're going to see, oh great, there's a nice tree sitting in the water. Fish can be sitting down at the base of that tree. There's some cattails, and in between there's another tree. Again, another opportunity to catch fish. We'll keep panning, and I'm going to look at that whole bank and say, again, there's more rocks, but then you come to this point, so you have this big tree hanging off the point, and it's going to overhang that water. Another potential spot for any bait fish to be hiding. And then if we look at the open part of the lake, right now we're not seeing anything as far as weeds, but if you had some sunglasses on polarized, you might be able to see a weed cover in there with some holes. And then we're going to pan all the way back down to the right, and right under this tree here again is another opportunity to find bait fish where your predators will come in and have a snack. All right, so let's make a few casts and see what that structure's hiding for us. We're going to start with the structure again to our left. We're just going to make a small cast. Just work the bait back. And with my polarized sunglasses, I'm actually seeing my bait. Next structure again is going to be a little bit further. And again, you want to make accurate casts if you can. And you work your bait, see if there's any fish hiding. Next cast, we're going to try to get up under that tree. So I'm going to make a nice low cast. Now we're going to push it out to that rock wall over there. So I hope everybody's kind of getting the idea that we're just covering the structure. You may not catch a fish every time, but as you're covering structure, you're just upping your odds to get fish to bite if they're there. Again, we're working that structure. And we're going to throw another cast. We're going to stretch it out and try to get it as close as we can to that far right wall. And sometimes as soon as that bait hits the water, that's all it takes. And if there's a fish there, he's just going to crush it. I know I'm not going to be able to reach over to that tree, but we have this tree right here, and again, it's just a matter of just opening the bail and letting your line go and try to get it right under the tree and work the bait back. And I can see my bait working, and that's how you cover structure. Again, it's a fan casting type situation, so when I look fan cast, it doesn't matter what part of the clock you're starting with. If this is going to be in the most productive area, I'm going to start there first. I'm going to fan cast all the points of the clock and cover water. If I don't get bit, I'm going to start going back the opposite direction and work all the structure again. Now, if you don't get anything, great. That just tells you you need to move and find more structure. And we can actually find some more and give you a better idea of casting down a bank, so we can try that one next. Okay, so we covered pinpoint spots on structure, but there's a little trick that I like to use, is just covering the whole bank with one cast. If you look down this whole bank here, we can make a nice long cast to the end of the bank, and we can fish our bait down this whole bank and cover all that structure with one cast, again upping the odds for catching a fish. Ideally, for this section right here, we can throw an overhand cast and get as far as we can and cover the bank. So I'm going to make a cast down this bank, and we'll see how far we can get and get the whole thing covered. And we're going to work the bait right down the side of this bank, and you can see that covering all this structure right here. So now we're just creating better opportunity. If there's a fish waiting in this whole section, again, increase our odds to get bit. So I'm going to keep working it until that bait comes fairly close to me, and then once it's fairly close, I'm going to say, okay, that structure's covered, and I'll make a couple casts down there in case we missed anything, maybe change my bait, but that'll give you your better percentage of catching more fish by covering a whole bank in one shot. All right, so I'm going to make a cast. So we have a little section, but I can thread the needle and get it right through there. And if you get an accurate cast, you might be able to pull a fish. So if we make a cast right up in there, right on that log, you see how that log's sticking down? And I can see a big bass right now cruising with my sunglasses on. So I'm going to bring this bait back, and I'm going to see if I can get his attention, because I know he's feeding. He's just cruising through there looking for bait fish. That's where I saw him. I don't see him chasing. And there you have it. But we know he's cruising out there. So let's make a longer cast just outside that stump. I'm just working the bait. You can work the bait in a lot of different fashions. But you can get into some pretty tight situations with it with your rod, as long as you have the basics of casting. Okay, so that kind of covers our ecology section where we're trying to cover structure for finding fish. Be sure to like and subscribe. That way you can keep getting our videos. And when you're out at CYO or with your family, it's time well spent.